gym is already overwhelming, especially if you're new, so here's everything gym etiquette that you need to know if you're somebody starting off. Keep in mind, there have been plenty of times where I have forgotten to do these things. We're human, we make mistakes, but this is just if you want to be more mindful about it so that you have a more positive experience for yourself and for the people around you. First things first, clean your equipment, please. After you use any machine, there are wipes or sprays, depending on the gym that you go to, pretty much all over the place. Even if you don't sweat, but especially if you do, just wipe down the equipment. It gives everybody a clean, fresh thing to use. Wipes or sprays have disinfectant in them, so even if you don't sweat, it's just nice to have clean equipment, and you deserve that just as much as anybody else. Going off of cleanliness, please wear deodorant. It doesn't have to be an expensive deodorant. Some gyms actually will offer that in their locker rooms depending on where you go. I think you can do a lot of people many favors by just not smelling. Another big one is just to re-rack your weights. If you use anything, just put it back right where you found it. I mean, it's pretty simple, but you'd be surprised how a lot of people don't do it. And also make sure you're re-racking correctly. If you're using like a 45-pound, one of the big round plates, put it back on the 45 one, not kind of disorganized. It makes it easier not only for the next person using the machine, but also for the people that work there at the gym. They don't want to have to spend their shifts reorganizing your shit. Just kind of put things back where you found them. Try to be a little bit more mindful about your phone usage in between sets, especially during busy time. It can be a little bit annoying when somebody's on a machine that you would like and they're just like on their phone the whole time. I go on my phone in between sets to like find a song, or like maybe I'll put like some TikTok audio on that gets me hyped that I can't find on SoundCloud. But when it comes to mindless scrolling or like calling people on the phone or whatever, just try to save that for maybe after your set or when you're going home or something. I'd actually argue that waiting too long in between your sets anyways kind of makes you lose focus and it ruins your pump. So the more focused you are and off your phone, just the better overall, in my opinion. Most gyms will have benches in front of mirrors, so if you are going to use the mirror for whatever, try not to block somebody else's view of themselves. I used to think that was because people just are egotistical and like to stare at themselves, but a lot of movements like shoulder press, for example, people use the mirrors to check their form and just to make sure that they're doing it correctly, and maybe to look at themselves, because who doesn't? But just try to not block somebody else's view, because they could be using it to make sure that they don't get injured, you know? You can easily just stand behind somebody using a bench and still get a pretty good view of yourself without completely blocking theirs. Continuing on to dumbbell things, try not to hoard weights. So if you're doing like a superset, for example, and maybe you're going from 20 pounds and then once you fail, you're lowering it, that's fine. You can maybe do 2 different types of weights, but try not to have 4 different weights at your disposal sitting at your feet, because that could be robbing somebody else of using a weight. That doesn't mean you can't superset. I do it all the time. Just maybe pick 2 different weights. So maybe it's just having the 40s and the 35s rather than the 40s, 35s, 20s, 10s, and then all of a sudden you're surrounded by dumbbells. Somebody else could be waiting and using that while you're doing your sets. Try not to use multiple machines at one time. That's not to say that you can't do that. If it's not busy, I mean, do whatever the hell you want. If you can, try to just kind of focus on one thing at a time. It just helps other people have more access to machines versus you having your bag and then your cup and then your phone at 3 different things, and then the whole row for a bicep movement is taken. I'd argue that you can probably get more done in the free weight section or just taking one machine specifically to failure versus supersetting and doing lighter of like 10 different things. That also kind of goes for using machines for their unintended uses. So if you're just doing some curls, you don't need to do that in a squat rack. You could do that without. Some people need a squat rack to perform certain movements. Be more aware of what the equipment your exercise specifically requires and focus on that versus just finding what works, because it could be taking that away from somebody else. A very specific example of this that I never see people talk about, there are usually 2 types of benches at a gym. There's the ones that you can adjust and the ones that are stuck flat, like they're just a single like lay down. If you're doing a flat benching movement, try to find a flat bench and not take a adjustable one, because some people could be using that adjustable for its intended use where they need an incline. Rather than using an adjustable at flat, just try to find a flat one, if that makes sense. It can just be a little bit more helpful for people who actually need the adjustability versus you who's just like using it for your foot to rest on during like Bulgarian split squats or something like that. So important is know how to talk to people. And when I say how, I mean more specifically when. Do not approach somebody when they are in the middle of a set to ask if they're using a weight, or if you're going to hit on a girl, I can guarantee you that your chances of getting anywhere are going to be absolutely shot to hell if you do it while she's in the middle of something. Wait until somebody's done and then politely go up to them and ask them whatever question you want. But it's very, very annoying in a kind way of saying it when you're focused, you got your music blasting and someone's tapping you on the shoulder. You can wait 5 seconds and they'll be done. Lastly, if you have been watching somebody on the same machine that you've been waiting for a long time and you'd like to use it, there's absolutely nothing wrong with asking somebody how many sets they have left. And if you're somebody who needs a social script, here's what I do. I go up to somebody once they finish their set and I say, "Excuse me, how many more sets do you have left?" And they have one of 2 options. They're either going to respond and say, "Oh, I just started," or "Oh, I have 4 more sets left." No matter what they say, I always respond the same. no worries, take your time, thank you. And that's how I treat that, and I'll go do something else, or I'll go to the bathroom and whatever. Or they'll respond and say, oh, I have 2 more, but you're welcome to work in. And working in just means you guys go back and forth and do the exercise kind of together, which saves a lot of time. And usually a lot of people will offer that. Sometimes they won't, especially if it's a very specific machine. And sometimes I don't even want to work in with somebody because I know that I'll be there a while, or that my weights are a lot different than theirs, so it'll just take a little bit more time. But there's nothing wrong with asking people questions. Do not be afraid to ask somebody, hey, are you finished using that? That's not rude. I don't know why people think that that's a rude thing at all. We all pay the same damn fee, so we're all equally worth using a machine. So just ask if someone's done, and they'll either respond in one of 2 ways, and you can just say, okay, thank you, or no worries, take your time, and that's it. You are worth being there just as much as anybody else, no matter how much muscle mass you have. It's a gym. People are people. Unfortunately, a lot of people there can be egotistical and selfish in the way that they view other people that use the same space as them, and I'm really, really sorry, but I hope you know everybody started where you are. There's absolutely no reason to be nervous about going to the gym. You're there because you're bettering yourself, and that's fucking awesome. The only reason you should feel guilty is if you commit a crime, and there is nothing wrong with going to better yourself. So I hope you give yourself grace being the newbie, because you were all there at one time too, and you deserve it just as much as anybody else. I hope this helps.